right, here we go. Green Bay Greg, episode 18. That means we are 4.5 months into this catastrophe. Thanks for joining me on whether you're on Facebook Live, on Twist, the Week in Sports Talk website, or through the RTF, soon-to-be All Access Sports Network. Anyway, you're hearing me, maybe on the YouTube, or maybe it was retweeted on the Twitter box, the Twitter sphere. Either way, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me. We're going to get big, heavy into the NFL. And like I have a tendency to do every now and again, we might dip into something that's maybe a little bit out there when it comes to a relationship between sports and what's going on in the real world. Okay, who am I kidding? It's probably going to be the last half of the show. So, first of all, sports talkers, what I wanted to get into now, NFL started. If you're watching my show live, obviously it's Monday night. Took a break from the first Monday night football game to record this. Otherwise, you might be watching me on the RTS Sports Network Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central. Either way, a lot of reaction from yesterday or from Thursday. But what I want to get into right now is yesterday, Sunday, before the game started, had a fun little experience. Me, Mike, and Matt. Mike from Mike on the Mic and Matt from Benzi's Bit, also my co-host on Twist, the Week in Sports Talk. We were hanging out at Mike's house, and I was trying to remember how this went. Essentially, Mike had Twist host Mike. I'm just reading some comments here. That's funny. So Mike is Twist host Mike, but he must have logged into this show through his Twist account. Come on, Mike, you're better than that. All right, here we go. So we're at Mike's house pregame, and I made a comment. I think it was about 10:30 in the morning. Game was starting at noon. Made a comment that I would have loved to have the guys over at my house, but my TV wasn't big enough. I had like a 27-inch TV in my living room, and I didn't want to watch the game there. And Mike had a 58-inch, and Mike made just a throwaway comment and said, "Oh, I was going to buy a 75-inch TV yesterday." And I just looked at him and said, "Well, why didn't you?" And then there was silence in the room because he couldn't come up with a reason why he didn't. So essentially, in less than 45 minutes, we ran to Walmart, got Mike a 75-inch TV, and got his 58-inch TV into the back seat of my car. So everyone wins. That was good times had by all. I am very grateful. Saved a little bit of money. Everyone wins. Mike got a cheaper price on his big TV. I got a 58-inch TV for less than retail. So everyone wins. Except for the lady at Walmart who doesn't understand sarcasm. I was a little bit aggressive with her when she wouldn't just give me a flatbed truck to flatbed little dolly to take the TV in. So I went a little Green Bay Greg on her. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go into the next topic because I'm going to save some specifics for my other topics. First of all, you're better than that. What I want to address in the year better than that is everyone this morning, last night after the game, after the Sunday main games, or all day today, that are just completely overreacting. Let's not forget, there were no preseason games. There was very little practicing. So you can kind of, with the games that happened yesterday, you can take, negatives or positives out of it. Just so everyone knows, obviously you see the background on the back, my nickname. You know the name of the show, Green Bay Greg. I'm going to get into the game yesterday with the Vikings. However, I'm going to wait for that for a little bit. For you Viking fans that are watching, you might be a little impressed with me. I actually think that the Vikings are going to come out the big winner in this whole thing. I'll get into that in a second. But what I want to get into is just some things that happen that people are overreacting with it, and some things that I think people are right on about. First of all, something that everyone's right on about. I think the New York Jets are the worst football team in the NFL this year. I thought that the way that they played yesterday was ridiculous. It was horrible. And I think that the final score of 27-17 against Buffalo wasn't even close to that. I think Buffalo handled them, and the game wasn't even a contest anymore in the second quarter, and Buffalo just tried to get out of the game and not get anyone hurt. They played a very vanilla offense. Once again, they didn't have any preseason, but the New York Jets just looked pathetic. I think it's an overreaction to think that Tom Brady is garbage without Bill Belichick. I think that what we saw yesterday was a perfect example of a 43-year-old quarterback who's played in the same system for 20 years, trying to get adjusted into a new system. I don't care who you are. I'm 44 years old. He's 43. No matter what you do, it's going to take a little bit of time at this age to adjust mentally, physically. I think he's going to be fine. He's got way too many weapons around him, and he's being asked to do different things. When he was in Bill Belichick's offense, he had an amazing defense. Let's not forget, he got a shortened field. He got, defenses that could, keep scores and games low. He's asked to do a lot of different things this year with Tampa Bay, so give him a chance to catch up. What I don't think is an overreaction is I think that Rob Gronkowski's done. I don't think that he put in the training needed to stay in NFL shape last year when he didn't play and he joined the WWE. I don't think that this preseason gave him enough time to work out with the team. He just looked in every play that he was involved in. He was only throwing the ball 3 times with 2 catches for 11 yards. He just looked out of it. He did not look like he was, on the same page running at an NFL level. He looked like a Division II college kid, at that speed. So I don't think that that's an overreaction. I think that something else that's not an overreaction. I think that Arizona and Kyler Murray is the real deal. I think the person who had the worst day yesterday on Sunday, the 13th of September, was a guy who didn't even play. Deshaun Watson played on Thursday, and I think he had the worst Sunday of any NFL player, and that's because he got to see Kyler Murray throw the ball to D-Hop, his former wide receiver. I think that he was regretting signing that four-year, $160 million extension with the Texans. I could be wrong. I just think that when you're a quarterback and you're at that level of, are you the top 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks in the league, or are you in that 4, 5, 6, which I think is where Deshaun Watson hangs out at? What you really need is that high level, that premier wide receiver, and your coach / general manager traded him away for a bag of donuts in the offseason. And I think right now you probably, feel that it's an uphill climb. Now, the benefit for you is the division that you're in with Indianapolis, Tennessee, and Jacksonville has never been world beaters. The division winner is usually you guys at the Texans, but the winning team usually is in that 9-7, 10-6. So you could tough it out and maybe get a playoff spot. But I really think that Deshaun Watson is missing D-Hop. Some of the other things I thought were a little bit of an overreaction is I think we just need to pump the brakes on the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy. There's no love lost between Green Bay fans and Mike McCarthy. I think that he mailed it in the last couple of years in Green Bay. I think that his offense was completely vanilla. There was no imagination to it. And I think that it took a lot of fun out of Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers just stopped having fun. It's not like I'm trying to defend him, but it's got to be difficult for a coach to coach a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback like Aaron Rodgers for as long as he did, then take a year off and then not get an off season, not get those preseason games to work with Dak Prescott. So I think that we give him a little bit of time, and I think Dallas is going to be fine to come out of the NFC East. The only other thing that I thought of that, really jumped out at me yesterday is I think that Cam Newton will not last the entire season if he's running 13 scripted run plays and then scrambling for 2 more. His injuries that he suffered in his career are not, strains or sprains or twist, whatever. I mean, he's really gotten hurt before. So, he might be 31, but he's probably got the body of a 36, 37-year-old. I just don't see that, playing out throughout the whole season. I think that he's got to kind of ease up, and Belichick's got to throw some more dump off passes, some more screens and draws and things like that. So let's see what we got here. Okay, we got a question here on the NFL from Mike Malone. How did the Lions do to keep pace to win the division? The Lions will not win the division. Mike, I love you. I've known you for 20, 30 years probably. You're better than that. And I know you're just messing, but yeah, there's no way. The Lions beat the Bears, and they had to have a dropped pass in the end zone to do it. That was that. The winner of that game, is just you might as well have put a ski mask on because you stole one. So anyway, moving on, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is the moment of Zen. All right, this is where I break down because I think that there was one game on the NFL docket yesterday that really illustrated what 2020 NFL is like, and that was the Packer-Viking game. And I know everyone's probably hoping that I'm going to rip on Matt and Mike and Viking fans. I'm really not. I do that on Twist, and I do that other times. But I think what this is a perfect example of this game was how much continuity matters on a team when you don't have preseason games and you really don't have an off season. Now, the secondary of the Minnesota Vikings, rookies, second-year guys, they're all guys that were makeshift put together. Their cornerbacks are rookies. And here's the thing. In normal NFL preseasons, the training camps, NFL referees or certified officials come to practices and they coach the guys. They'll call, scrimmages as if it was a real game. The NFL didn't allow that this year because of COVID. So a lot of the secondary of Minnesota was learning NFL pace for the first time. And who are you learning this from? On the other side of the football is probably one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks of the last 50 years. And the single greatest quarterback when it comes to drawing defenses off sides, messing with their heads. Aaron Rodgers is second to none when it comes to psychologically screwing with the defense. He's always drawing guys off sides. He's doing weird snap counts. Now imagine if you're a rookie in the NFL and you didn't have 4 preseason games to plan for it. And now first game of the season and you're playing against one of the all-time greats. It's seriously like being thrown off a boat in the ocean with cinder blocks attached to your ankles. You're going to drown real fast. I think that Minnesota is going to be fine as the year goes on. I picked them at 10-6. I still think they're going to be 10-6. I actually said before the season started, actually when the schedule came out, I said because of this exact reason, not having preseason, that Green Bay would win this game. And by the time they play again later on in the season, that Minnesota probably will win the game in Lambeau. I'm sticking with that. There's nothing about yesterday's game that shocked me. It was an experienced offense in the Green Bay Packers who essentially have brought everyone back. Just give them another year of experience. MVS, Lazard, Devontae Adams, all these wide receivers that everyone was questioning, what did they get? They just have another year of experience working with Rodgers. And they're playing against a defense that literally was for the first time on the field together in the NFL game. I wouldn't overreact, but I do think that it is a microcosm of what the NFL is going to be like this year. It's going to be, the teams that have more continuity, the Saints, the Packers, the Seahawks from the NFC, and then, teams like Buffalo, I think, are going to do a lot better in the AFC, the Titans. Teams that have the same personnel from last year to this year are going to do a lot better than the teams that traditionally you would see, okay, they had a great draft, so now that's going to translate into another win or two. Maybe not this year. Because these guys just didn't get that offseason to work out as much as they, have in the past. So once again, I think that this game yesterday ended up the exact way I thought it would, with Green Bay coming out on top. So I'm just not, overly worked up about it. But I do think that it is, it's a trend that we're going to see a lot more of. One of the games that's going on right now that I'm very interested in is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because here you have a veteran quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, but he was hurt all last year. So how's that going to work where he was out last year, didn't get the offseason, but he does have the experience? I mean, you did see yesterday that Phillip Rivers threw for, I think it was like a half a mile that he threw for. Just kidding. It was like 380 yards, but they lost the game. Was that because they didn't have a lot of continuity? They didn't have a whole lot of time to work together, no preseason, but he still got his, So you never know. We're going to see as the time goes on. So we're going to move on to outside the arena. Now, what I wanted to talk about with this was a lot of people got worked up with different reactions to how different teams were reacting to the pregame festivities. They were playing two songs before the game, and the quote unquote Black national anthem and the traditional national anthem. Couple teams, I think they had said that 7 teams stayed in the locker room. Some teams were, letting players on the field to kneel if they wanted, stand if they wanted to. A couple of teams did what they did on Thursday night, where both teams interlocked arms to show a sign of unity. By the way, I did see a camera phone video of that from Thursday night. It was recorded from the audience, from the stands at Arrowhead Field in Kansas City, and it showed the entire thing, and there were fans quietly cheering. There were no fans booing. I'm not saying that the media is pumping in boos. What I am saying is I saw what I saw, and I saw teams on the field locked in arms, the banner behind the scoreboard calling out the 7 phrases that they said, but I didn't hear any boos. I heard quiet cheering, but I didn't hear any boos. So once again, you don't always want to believe what you're told to believe. But what I wanted to get into now is I think that in this day and age, what we need to do as a society, especially when it comes to things like sports, and what people want to do is they want to jump on the coattails of an athlete because maybe they're your favorite athlete. Maybe you like LeBron James, so you want to believe in the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, I'm not telling you not to believe in what they're saying. What I am saying is you might want to watch yourself before you start blindly following movements. Why? Because what happens is once you get caught up in a stance, you could become a victim of that stance. Now, here's my point. Players were at one point going to put the names of police shooting victims on their helmets until you start finding out what these people have done in the past. Now you have 2 different opposing sides. You have, you have the NFL player who says, I'm going to put this guy's name, and I'm not going to mention names purposely. I know their names. I have a photographic memory. I want to put this guy's name on the back of my helmet. And then you have someone else that says, well, years ago, he raped and mugged a woman. So now where are you on this? Well, here's my thing. Why, or I want to support this guy, put this guy's name on the back of the helmet, on my favorite player's helmet. Well, this guy was, punching at cops, has assaulted women, and he was all doped up on fentanyl. Okay, whatever the case is, what the problem isn't what's true and what's not. I'm not saying that I believe that I don't believe that guy, no matter what you do, you deserve to be shot or, a knee on the back of your throat. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is instead of believing in this movement, why not, instead of focusing on blame, cops are the enemy, Black people are the enemy, Hispanic people, white people are the enemy. Let's start off, instead of starting off with a problem and trying to get to a solution, let's start off with a solution and dissipate the problem. So instead of saying the problem in our society is racial injustice, the problem in our society is police brutality, the problem in our society is racial divide, whatever you want to say, instead of saying this is the problem, let's say, here's what we need. We need racial harmony. It's that simple. So what do we do from there? Instead of saying, here's the problem, and then you have a bullet list of 30, 40 things that are part of the problem, let's talk about the solution, the utopia we want to live in. And then all you're doing is you're pointing out the good. If you want to find bad, you can find bad in anything. What I'm asking people to do is if you want to see good, it's just as easy to see the good in anything. I can come on the show. In fact, I might. You know what? I might come on the show every flipping week and talk about a great interaction I had in the previous week with someone of a different race, a different gender, or a different sexual orientation. Just someone different than me. Because you know what? I am sick and tired of people saying, oh, you're going to put this guy's name on the helmet of your helmet. He raped a woman. You know what? I get it. But why are we always trying to find a problem? How about we find a solution? Here's the solution. Here's what we want. We want racial harmony. So how are we going to get there? Well, The next time I'm in a store, I'm gonna just wave to that guy that's of a different race than me. And hey, African Americans, Hispanics, that goes for you too. Quit walking around with a chip on your shoulder. If I'm smiling at you, you can smile back at me. I never owned any slaves. If I want to be nice to you, you can be nice to me. I understand that this sounds really elementary. It's not though. Life can be this simple. So instead of following movements and people and trying to say, oh, this is the problem, what are we going to do to fix the problem? How about we stop talking about the damn problem? How about we just start talking about what the solution should be? The solution should be racial harmony, gender equality, racial equality. End of flipping story. Stop looking for the negative. All right. Woo. So, as a transition, I heard something yesterday when I was at church. I'm just giving people a chance to take a deep breath because I just said I was at church. Yes, I was. What the preacher said was, in our lives, all around us, there's fog and there's smog. What's fog? Fog is naturally occurring. They're the things that happen around us in our world that we cannot control. Whether it's a pandemic, a natural thing, or maybe it's a natural disaster. Maybe it's the weather. We're stuck somewhere because of a blizzard or because of a rainstorm, something got canceled. Whatever the case is, it's something that's naturally created that exists in the world. That's fog. Now, what's smog? Smog is man-made. Smog is a man-made created vision blur. What can smog be? Smog can be the media's perception of reality. The smog can be the way people treat other people around us. The smog can be pretty much anything negative that's blocking us from what we need to see in life. Now, what do we need to see in life? The joy, the happiness. So remove the fog and remove the smog. Now, it's hard to remove the fog because it's naturally occurring. It's all around us. We can't control the weather. Believe it or not, when someone asks me what the weather is, all I'm doing is I'm opening up the app on my phone and hitting the Weather Channel app. I'm not actually creating the weather, so don't blame me. But we can remove the smog. Now, when you remove the smog, maybe you don't go on the internet that day. Maybe you don't react to the person who doesn't have the same political beliefs as you do, and all you're going to do is just start a big war with them. Maybe you just remove yourself from that and you remove the smog. Well, once you remove the smog, the fog's a lot easier to live through, because what happens in fog, believe me, when they have fog warnings in the morning during your drive into work, what do they always say if you're in the central time zone? Add an hour, subtract the hour, depending on where you are. The fog will dissipate at 9 a.m. If you're in LA, what do they say about the smog? It's going to be bad all day. See, you can choose in your life to remove the smog. You just don't have to deal with it. You don't have to take part in the man-created elements. But the fog, we don't have any control over. But the fog always goes away. The fog will always go away. So what I'm asking people to do is take a deep breath, live in reality, eliminate the smog yourself, and be patient through the fog. That's all I got, folks. I appreciate everyone listening to me. Till next week, go Pack Go. God bless.